Being the game creator, you want survival to be key in the Martian world. In order to make survival harder, you want to introduce an inventory with minerals. You want to set the game such that Martians who can collect and save minerals will survive longer. You also want to ensure that the minerals deplete over time to make survival harder. You can go about this by creating a mineral collection function. You want to first create an operation that adds on the minerals in the inventory as the Martians collect the minerals. That's right, we need to build an additional operation, but this is no easy task. You compile a list of functionalities to add to the game so that it becomes challenging and engaging. Firstly, you want to let the Martians collect minerals and add it to their inventory for survival. Secondly, you want the minerals in their inventory to deplete over time to make survival challenging. Thirdly, you want to add 2-time power-ups so that whenever players collect them, the number of minerals doubles. Last but not least, you want to include venomous balls that hit Martians that causes the number of minerals in their inventory to halve. You can use the coding blocks available to aid you in setting up this function. You want to make sure that every time a Martian collects a mineral, it is automatically added to his inventory. To set this up, let the total amount of mineral in the inventory be the variable total mineral. We can use the variable minerals picked up to keep account of the number of minerals we just picked up. We then have to add this number to total mineral. In mathematics, we can simply add the amount of minerals picked up to the initial amount of minerals in the inventory to find out the total number we have in our inventory. For example, if you had 6 minerals initially and you picked up 3, the total minerals you would have now is 6 plus 3, which is 9. This result represents how much minerals you have with you in the end. Before we jump to using code, we need to refine our approach. Let's use the boxes from the previous video. How can we represent this math with these boxes? We can have a box named total minerals, which represents the number of minerals initially inside the inventory. We can have another box named minerals picked up to represent the number of minerals the Martian just collected. We now have to add the value inside minerals picked up to the value inside total minerals, and then put this new value back inside total minerals. Sounds simple, right? How do we do it in code? In code, to obtain the total number of minerals you currently have after picking up the new minerals, we can perform a simple addition operation between the minerals picked up variable, which contains the number of minerals picked up, to total minerals variable, which contains the number of minerals that you initially had. But remember, by only doing this, we are not updating the total number of minerals you have. We need to save this result to total minerals using the equal sign so that the value gets updated. Don't get confused by the equal sign. The equal sign is simply used to set the value. This means that the computer will calculate the result on the right side of the equal sign first, and then set this result to the variable on the left of the equal sign. There is a simpler way of doing this. When we want to increment the variable by a value, we can use the plus equal symbol. This is equivalent to the earlier expression that you performed, but it is so much shorter. Here, the value of minerals picked up is added to total minerals value directly. Now, the total minerals value increases to include the minerals that the Martians has collected. Good job with that. Next, you want to ensure that the minerals are used up over time. When the mineral count is low, the Martians can no longer survive. Let's build a subtraction operation to help keep track of the depleting minerals. You can code the game such that every 30 seconds, 2 minerals are subtracted from total mineral. This subtraction could be done similar to how we did addition. Since we want to subtract 2 minerals every 30 seconds, we first store the value 2 in a variable called deplete. Next, we need to subtract deplete from total minerals. We will use the math block. Instead of plus sign, we now choose the minus sign. We simply drag in total minerals into the left slot and deplete into the right slot, so that it becomes total minerals minus deplete. The last step will be to set this result to total minerals. We will drag this math block and drop it into the equal block. Once again, the computer will calculate the value total minerals minus deplete on the right side of the equal sign. This result is then stored into total minerals. Similar to before, we can simplify the expression by using the minus equal symbol to decrement the value in total minerals by the value in deplete. This will minus the value of deplete from total minerals and store it back into total minerals. Since we want the mineral to deplete every 30 seconds, we can run this block of code every 30 seconds. Running the code once every few seconds requires a more complex concept called loops, which you will learn next time. Congratulations! That's another feature complete. Let's move on to the next feature. This time, let's spice up the game by adding power-up functionalities to the game. How do we do that? Let's add ×2 power-up potions in your game. When the Martians collect these magical potions, mineral level in their inventory doubles. Can you think of what mathematical operator would be useful in helping us achieve this functionality? That's right, we need a multiplication operation such that the total mineral is doubled after every power-up operation. This is very similar to the previous arithmetic operations. The only difference is that we are doing a multiplication. In programming, we use the asterisk symbol for multiplication. Since we want to multiply the current mineral by 2, we can have a variable called powerup to hold the value of 2. We use the math block and select the asterisk to multiply the current minerals by 2. We now use the equal sign to store this result into total minerals variable. When this block of code is run, the computer will first calculate the value of total minerals multiplied by powerup. Then, the value will be stored into the total minerals variable on the left-hand side of the equal sign. Now, every time the Martian collects the ×2 power-up, his mineral count will be doubled. Very well done indeed. Yet another item off the checklist. Let's make the game slightly more challenging for the user, shall we? Let's add venomous balls into the gameplay, which when hits a certain player would halve the number of minerals they have. But how do we then keep account of this? To account for this reduction of minerals, we need a division operator. Every time they are hit by a venomous ball, their total mineral is divided by 2. In programming, we use the / symbol for division. We will need to divide the value stored in total minerals by 2. Hence, we first create a variable called venomous ball and store the value of 2 inside. Now, we use the math block for the division. Select the division operator, which is the / from the drop-down. Slot in the total minerals on the left and venomous ball on the right, so that the number of minerals currently owned by the Martian gets divided by 2. Now we need to store this result in total minerals variable using the equal block. Every time a Martian gets hit by a venomous ball, we can run this code so that his mineral count halves. Now that we have all these incentives and challenges in place, the game is going to be more spiced up and survival is going to be more challenging. Good job on coding variable arithmetic operations to keep track of the changes in the total amount of minerals in the inventory.